Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi, this is Friday Conversations, Fridays with Friends. My name is Craig, and I'm glad to be here. And tonight we're going to be speaking with our friend, BK Kimberly. And Kim is the center coordinator at the Delray Beach Center. And in addition to that, well, we have a cat that's come on the scene. That's fine, I guess. In addition to being the center coordinator, she holds down a full-time job as a nanny and has a part-time job. And not only that, she also is a prolific gardener and has made a beautiful creation garden here at the Raj Yoga Center. So, hello, Kim. How are you? Good
Hi,
evening.
I'm good. Good evening.
It's good to see you. So let me start off by just asking you a couple questions. And the first one that comes off is just all those things I just that I just mentioned. You are a coordinate the center, so you're in charge of everything that goes on at the meditation center. Yet you hold down a full-time job and have a part-time job and find time to do gardening. How do you do that?
Well, when I first started this meditation, my part time job that I currently hold was my full time job at a bookshop. Well, it was part time then too, as well. But I quit it to take a meditation course, and that was about 26 years ago. However, I went back. The reason I quit was because I felt that I was taking on anger. And I thought, well, I just have to leave it behind. And so I left it. I turned in the key and everything. Uh, but in the course of this meditation, I find that you can't leave everything behind in a physical way, but you leave the feelings and the emotions that cause harm, and you learn to deal with things and bring peace and harmony and silence into your daily life, no matter what it is you are doing. So I found myself back working at that bookshop, and over the years of meditating, I have been able to help more at centers and less at centers, depending on different things. So, bringing the practice of meditation into my life, dealing with uh, children and bosses and uh, different things like that, uh, I'm able to maintain a modicum of calmness when things are
Oh, you're
up in
being
the
too modest.
uh, and so, yes, that's what I've done.
Well, I've been coming to class and I see you on a daily basis, and the things you just said, I never hear you mention. I never hear you mention anything about it. But I'm sure, like the rest of us, we have separate lives in a way. We have our meditation life and our practice, and then we have the what we call the so-called real world. And what I wanted to get from you is what methods do you employ to not have separate worlds, that it's always you being you wherever you go?
Right. Yes. Well, I do practice meditation on a daily basis practically, and then also it becomes a way of life. And so, in that way, the basis of meditation is thinking. And we do an awful lot of that all the time. And so, checking what is the thought that I'm thinking right now? What is the general vibration of the thoughts that I'm thinking throughout the day? And I know myself better than I used to know myself. And if things are going in a different direction than understanding myself as a peaceful soul, and I'm getting drawn into somebody else's story, then I come back to my own story and bring thoughts of truth such that I am a peaceful being. I have a choice to go in this direction or this direction. And so, just as my job is to look after children, you can think of your mind as a child, and that with thoughts of benefit, when the mind is running in a different direction, you bring it back to thoughts of peace and thoughts of harmony.
So, when you just said that the mind is like a child, I relate to that. And so, uh, when you're relating to children and you can't necessarily give them knowledge in such a way because the lack of sophistication of the mind, how do you transmit your feelings of peace and happiness, or even more basically, how do you instruct? You strike me as being like a modern day Mary Poppins. How do you get it across? Is it really a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down?
Well, we do sing and dance and things like that, but we talk about kindness, we talk about peaceful things, we talk about sharing, we talk about being calm and not getting overwhelmed by things. What I find with the children that I look after, they're very independent and they often don't want help. And yet they're not quite able to do the things that they want to do. And so I try and make it uh, a good thing to ask for help, use manners, and things like that. They don't always agree with me, but
I was just,
work
as
with
you're hearing you say that, is making me think that it's no different with adults. It doesn't matter if someone is 5 or 3 or 45. It's the same thing going on, and even my own mind is like a child. That it's
exactly.
I do you how do you correct? How do you correct a child without harming them and still or not hurting their self-esteem?
You direct the conversation. Often it's distracting them, trying to think of something else, or singing a song, or taking a break, or reminding them that they used to think something else was hard, and now that's so easy. And it took practice and determination to get through that new learning experience. And then sometimes they remember, and sometimes they say, "Oh, but this is
I really don't see, just hearing you say that, I really don't see the difference in relating to children, other people, or my own mind. That I might have a punish myself for not being up to the standard that I think I should be, and then that doesn't really work. And yet I don't want to. I want to be accountable, but yet I don't want to be too rough. So
yeah,
you've just given me a method on how to even talk to myself, uh, which brings up another. I have another question for you. You're talking about like a child inside, but there's a lot of noise sometimes inside the mind. And how do you use silence to talk to the mind, or distract the mind, or change my thoughts from a different place?
yes, I use silence in that you give a thought of an actual thought of peace, an actual thought of patience, and then expand on it. Let it slow, and not always do you have time for actual silence in your day, but making the inside of you uh, go towards a space of calm, a space of inner deep breath,
I just took one myself.
so
Thanks.
that you can carry on and do any number of things. And not just once, but throughout the day, whenever you have a moment, when you do actually have a moment, you can be peaceful, then take that into consideration. But if everything is always moving around, then you need to just expand little spaces throughout the day to carry on with peaceful thoughts inside, which reflects in the outside.
I've watched you over time, bring a barren landscape into a fruitful garden. And what has the practice of meditation revealed to you about gardening and or vice versa?
Right. Well, many of the pieces of uh, knowledge or understandings that we receive in meditation are as if seeds, and we plant them in the mind and we let them grow and flourish. And as we utilize the nourishment of peace and harmony within, then we can weed out the chaotic and unharmonious thoughts. And so, too, in the physical garden, seeds need a little bit of nourishment, they need some water, a little bit of fertilizer, and to pull out the things that aren't so desirable so that they have room to flourish. And it works. A bit of water, a bit of sunshine, and it works. And so we're giving the mind water and sunshine of thoughts in such a way that peace and harmony and patience and love can grow inside and get rid of the things that are less desirable, that don't uh, nourish us.
It sounds like something like that keeps my attention all the time, and it's not unlike distracting the child from doing something that could be disruptive into finding a creative and beneficial thing to do. Like reading doesn't necessarily have to be a chore, it can
Right,
be a pleasure.
exactly.
Uh, Tell me about the relationship that you think, it just came to me and I want to hear your take on it, between seeds and silence.
Seeds contain within them all they need to grow. The pattern is there, the whatever the seed it is. If you have a seed for a sunflower, that knows how to become a sunflower. If you have a seed that's an acorn, that knows how to become an oak tree, and it just needs nourishment to grow. I myself am a seed, and so I have the pattern within me to grow into a peaceful being and have that carry through everything that I do. I just need to nourish that with kind thoughts and uh, powerful connection with that which is benevolent and good always. And I will be able to carry that forward in whatever I do.
So you don't really get upset about the weeds, or what about the bugs that eat your precious plants?
Well,
How do you?
we happen to have a speciality here of butterfly gardening, so they're always eating everything. However, that's part of the game, and so you just brush off and let that go forward too.
I know, and I never really, I never hear you complain about anything at all like that or other people. And I just, as I was seeing it, I saw a caterpillar out in the garden earlier today, and I realized all it does is take and take and take. It eats and eats and eats. And you know, if you're thinking, oh, that's my plant, you're eating my precious flowers, but then it takes that and turns it into something really
Very
beautiful.
beautiful.
So it made me change my any type of prejudgment that I may had, or seeing it. How dare you eat my plant? You know, it's really doing its purpose, and I just don't understand it. And I'm thinking, well, if I can do that for a caterpillar, can't I do that for my neighbor or my spouse or my friend or my parents or my children? Everyone is just doing what they think they need to do, and they don't need me to come in and like work like the exterminator.
Exactly. No, the whole world is playing out in such a way that maybe it looks chaotic, maybe it looks challenging, and yet everybody's doing the best they can. And so let me look at them as peaceful beings, and as on this planet we're all a big family. And so to have the patience and love that eventually everybody will come to understand themselves better. And so not to send out bad wishes, because that in turn shrivels my own plant.
Well, thank you for inspiring on that for me, Kym. Why don't you, you know, we're probably a little close to the time allotted to us. And so for a couple minutes, would you take us on a little meditation, you know, maybe give us a little dialogue in the background on kind of what you talked about today about seeds and growing and silence, and
Sure.
so I can get the feeling of that state?
As I sit here, I understand that there is depth within. I am a seed of peace, and the roots grow strong as I nourish with patience, kindness, understanding, acceptance. And then the stem and the branches grow strongly, and I'm able to give fruit that nourishes myself in a way that can give shade, that gives comfort to others. I am a peaceful being, and I see others as peaceful beings, growing and flowering and becoming a harmonious world family. Thank you.
As they say, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thanks very much, sister. It was a pleasure being with you.
Thank
And
you.
a little Friday night conversation with friends. So that's what it really is. It's Friday night with friends, and what a pleasurable way to spend time rather than just running to and forth and you have so much to do. Now you got to go right back on your thing, but thanks for sharing some of your methods, of your personal methods of maintaining the seed of peace, maintaining the seed of happiness throughout the day, and so I can learn how to nurture it.
Thank you for drawing forth such nice thoughts.
All right. So I bid you good evening. Goodbye, everyone. Enjoy. Thank you, Kym. We'll see you next time on Friday with Friends. Bye now.
Bye.